Everybody knows how that feels around these parts.
Yeah, bottom of the list, baby.
Yes, that's right. It is time for back to school at
That's
Isothermal.
right. That's right.
At
Back to
everywhere,
school.
really. Everybody is getting back into that groove. Reed Turchi live on WNCW. Can you talk about some of your contemporaries and some of your heroes, and maybe a little bit about where blues is the way you see it here today?
Ooh, that's always tricky. For me, blues where it is today, musically, as long as it's something that gets people moving and that has some emotional resonance, it's contemporary and as alive as ever. Unfortunately, I think there's a plague across the world of a lot of very fast-fingered, and then to borrow a phrase from Heather, too many noodles, not enough sauce kind of blues playing. And beyond maybe impressing a few fellow guitarists in some ways and not others, I don't think that music really speaks to people. And so whether it be called blues or future blues or some of the sort of more experimental wormholes that we go down as a band, or incorporating some of the Tuareg music, which is bluesy but extremely relevant, to those lives, as long as it matters to people, I think the music goes on. If it gets stuck as trying to be something in a, behind a museum plaque or a perfect replication, I don't have a lot of interest in the revivalist approach from a very strict standpoint.
Yeah, do you have any of the folks that might come out to your shows expect something that's maybe a lot more Chicago, or what they had as their picture of what blues is like?
They probably leave before I'm done, so I probably don't talk to them. It's always really exciting and refreshing to talk to someone after a show or even in between sets or anything who, is maybe a blues fan but has been really disappointed in that becoming the dominant form of blues, or someone who would never consider themselves a blues listener who's just like, oh man, that sounded great, whether it be the rhythm, like, Andrew's bass playing is pretty wild, and I would say not traditional bluesy by any stretch of the imagination. And
yeah, the 3-string bass. I mean, because 4 strings is just pretentious, right?
Sorry, radio listeners. Yeah, Andrew Hamlet only plays the 3-string bass, and yeah, he flew down for the tour, and I had that waiting for him properly set up.
Oh.
But yeah, it's always really exciting to have new listeners, whether they come from a traditional blues world or not, and recognize that, this group is trying to do something a little different, but that focuses on, songs lyrically that matter and rhythms that, affect you shoulders or waist down, because that's where the rhythm lives.
I would think that Luther and Cody Dickinson would be sort of the torchbearers for a lot of this style of what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely in Hill Country world, and they've both branched out to so many different things, and you can see how their energy, can carry over into a project that's not focused on that genre, whether it be Cody's movie production work with like Take Me to the River and the Memphis Heritage stuff, which, he was pushing to get legends in blues or soul world paired with younger, maybe, like hip-hop producers and rappers intentionally to try to get it to a younger audience. And even Luther's stint with the Black Crowes, has refreshed them and forced them to really step up their game and, hold them to it. And anytime you can raise the bar of the group you're with, you've got something good going on, traditional or not.
Well, who have you looked up to, and have you sort of been under the wing of any of the greats that you wanted to play with?
I don't know if I've been directly under the wing. Getting Luther to play on that first record and just the conversation going back and forth with him about that record was quite the learning experience. Very early on, I got to learn a lot of slide guitar unofficially from Kenny Brown, R.L. Burnside's long time, the same guy who first took Luther out on the road to try to teach him how to live in a van. And I learned a lot of life and musical lessons from that time. Other than that, I would say there's, musicians that I love to listen to, whether it be as a guitar player or just the intensity or the sort of refreshing sound they bring. Someone who comes to mind that's from a different genre and something I'll never know how to play, but Idris Muhammad, the New Orleans drummer. A friend of mine got me hip to his work, and every jazz album that to me can feel sometimes a little stock, like mid 70s and late 70s jazz that can be a little smooth. Every album he plays on is magic to me with the rhythms he brings in. So I've gone down a wormhole of that stuff. Not that I'm going to learn how to play drums like that, but just different sounds to have in my head. As, oh, well, you can take that and just whirl it into a big circle. It's fun.
Is there a soundtrack in the current tour or in your van or wherever you're traveling in? Is there a rotation of music? Any favorites for the group?
We listened to a lot of WNCW this morning.
All right.
We learned all about the sun visor, which we were hoping to all be wrapped in sun visors in here, but we can do our best. Yesterday, we were listening to a bunch of Junior Kimbrough to brush up on a couple songs we covered last night. We've been having fun incorporating different, for this tour, because everyone sings, we've been incorporating different covers just to sort of refreshen the set. Heather's been doing Busted, the Ray Charles song, with me trying to play horn stabs on the slide, which is fun. Andrew's been taking us to a different astral plane with the Velvet Underground song Pale Blue Eyes.
Oh.
And then Kathleen has been bringing the party with Use Me, the Bill Withers song. So it's, it's fun to get a little bit down blues world and then refresh your hands and your ears by throwing some of those in, and also see the audience go, I don't just do the same thing.
Yeah. We're live with Reed Turchi on WNCW. Have you got another song for us?
Yeah, this is an older song of mine off from the early Turchi days that Andrew was a part of, and we played this song and a bunch of others, but we made a live album in Lafayette, Louisiana one night I don't think I told anyone we were recording, which is my usual production move. And I think there were 3 people there, including the bartender and the bar back. But it turned into a live album that actually took me to Italy and got a lot of play over there, and was one of the things that made a lot of touring possible. So I'm going to pick up the kudzu special Novo guitar here if there's a brief moment of radio silence, and then we're going to do a little love song called Do For You.
Reed Turchi playing tonight in Swannanoa at the Native Kitchen. Tomorrow night down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and the Satellite back in Asheville at the French Broad on Saturday.
All right, this is our big party number.